Hi guys, I'm making this video to kick off this channel. It's a channel I've wanted to make for a while, and the whole idea is I'm going to explore this neo-historical model of Wing Chun. Now, firstly, I think you need to understand that there's something called the consensus model of Wing Chun, and that consensus model is simply what the majority of Wing Chun practitioners agree upon that is a part of Wing Chun. So, for example, the Siu Lim Tao, Chum Kyu, and Buji sets are part of the consensus model, because I think it's very clear that the majority of Wing Chun practitioners believe that's a necessary part of the art. So in contrast to that, the neo-historical model of Wing Chun is simply the theory that is obtained from historical evidence, and then from that, what survives being translated into modern science, and from that, what survives being put into the world of mixed martial arts and that kind of world of and reality of fighting. Obviously, the neo-historical model of Wing Chun is a completely new thing, and no one agrees upon it, but I'm interested in it because I really like reading history and learning about history, and obviously I really like practicing and learning about Wing Chun, so for me to combine them I find that very enjoyable. Now, also, I want to place the neo-historical model of Wing Chun in the context of HEMA, because for me that was a great inspiration in thinking about neo-historical Wing Chun. And the reason for that is HEMA is basically, if you don't know, this new art that has reconstructed historical European martial arts from historical texts. And it was basically this new community that grew over reading and interpreting the old European martial arts like manuals and texts and actually reconstructing the art. So there's now actually people who practice this art, and it's pretty interesting to watch. I mean, there's some really good guys out there. I can't remember their names, but if you go on YouTube, you can just see them, and they're really practicing sword fighting with realistic intensity. And I've also seen some guys practice like Kampfringen, which is the like style of unarmed combat, which is mostly based around wrestling from the clinch. And it's really interesting to see that people can actually reconstruct an art from historical evidence. So my inspiration was that I see that it's possible to do it, and simultaneously I've been looking at the historical evidence of Wing Chun, and to me, I think that we can reconstruct that historical model of Wing Chun, and so we'll just call it the neo-historical model of Wing Chun. And the reason why we have to call it a new model is because we can't just call something Wing Chun that doesn't really acknowledge that there is a consensus model of Wing Chun and that it should be respected for popularizing the art and keeping on traditions that from Ip Man. That's a good thing. But for me, I think we really need to explore this neo-historical model of Wing Chun and not get pulled into all those discussions about what lineage is correct and he said, she said, or my master's secrets are this and you don't really know Wing Chun because you never heard them. In my opinion, that's not very interesting to me, and I don't find that kind of discussion or productive, and it's often it often impedes you from communicating with people well, so it's actually a detriment to the community, I think. But anyway, back to neo-historical Wing Chun. Now, so I've basically said it basically consists of getting theory from historical evidence, translating it into modern science, and then putting that theory into the world of mixed martial arts. And I think I'll go into those topics in later videos to keep this one shorter. But I hope that makes sense, and I hope you understand that I'm trying to do what the HEMA people did in reconstructing their art. I want to reconstruct the historical model of Wing Chun. And I don't want other people to understand this to be me saying, oh, you're all wrong, and my thing is, the way I do it is right. No, I just want to explore this in an objective way and just, explore it objectively and scientifically and avoid all that kind of arguing and emotional conflict. So, why is it a good idea to talk about neo-historical Wing Chun? Well, I kind of just explained a bunch of things, but basically, I think going forward for Wing Chun, the lineage system is kind of impeding the development of the art. I would say it is a defunct system. And I think the funny thing is that people don't understand that Ip Man really popularized Wing Chun by adopting the Western style of teaching, in that he started having classes and he wasn't individually vetting students to teach, and that it was a much more open style of teaching than what would have happened when Wing Chun was taught prior to Ip Man. Now, I'm not saying it was like there was like a really better way of teaching. I'm just saying that it is a fact that the way of teaching changed, and that Ip Man adopted, this way of teaching through classes and having, his best students teach the classes while he watched and then corrected students. That is a modern style of teaching that he kind of pioneered, and that has been carried down in the past decades since he stopped teaching. And that's actually the dominant model of teaching today. But actually, I think it isn't good enough, considering what arts like judo and BJJ have managed to achieve with a even better and more modern system of teaching. For example, I find that the organizations that really enforce standards of teaching and standards of certifications in judo and BJJ are far superior to the organizations in the Wing Chun community. And because of that, I think the whole lineage system isn't really efficient at creating these types of organizations that allow a modern art to grow and thrive and really even develop and train really good fighters that go on to promote the art in the mixed martial arts community. I think it's really lacking, and part of that problem is the lineage system just isn't really effective anymore. I mean, back in its time, it might have been far superior to the way that Ip Man was taught, maybe. But the fact is that today the lineage system isn't that good, and we don't really need it. People are finding it easier than ever to travel, visit multiple schools, and also people have access to the internet, so they can just read information there and openly discuss Wing Chun. There's no need to keep a strict hierarchical system of authority. It's kind of outdated, and it kind of impedes a lot of the benefits that having a global community connected by the internet can give a martial art. Now, why else is the neo-historical model of Wing Chun a good idea? Oh, and sorry, for the lineage system, all I was saying was that we don't need the lineage system, and that if we just establish a standard reference for Wing Chun, from historical evidence, then that'll provide a basis to kind of create organizations like Judo and BJJ have. So another reason why the neo-historical model is a good idea is that it's educational and it's interesting. It's educational because, you gotta really think and understand some of traditional Chinese culture and history and really place this neo-historical model of Wing Chun in that context. I feel like a lot of people who practice the consensus model of Wing Chun today don't really get an education in that, and it's kind of sad because they do have a passion for it. It's just they usually really end up romanticizing kind of the folklore tales of Wing Chun and origin stories, which is fun. I love that stuff too, but in terms of placing the art in historical context, that's not believing in folklore as an origins and putting faith in origin stories passed down by word of mouth is not really it's not really placing the art in historical context, which happens to be very interesting, and I can make recommendations on where to read about that in later videos. So I think that's enough for this video. If you have any questions, please post them below. I think I want to keep most discussion about what I'm presenting in my channel and on my videos as of for now. If this can get enough attention, I might look into making some other ways to communicate and discuss, that's easier than YouTube comments. For example, making a Slack channel, a Discord, or something like that. I kind of prefer that to the forums. I find the forums to be a little bit slow, and for some reason they're very argumentative when people write one comment and then someone spends 30 minutes typing up a rebuttal to every argument and every sentence. I don't think that's very productive. And when you can just chat in real time, it's far superior. I don't know why we don't really have any Wing Chun community stuff like that right now, but it wouldn't be hard to make. Anyway, this kind of went on for too long, but yeah, I hope to make some more videos soon, and please give me some feedback. That would be very welcome. Thank you for listening.